And so when your bowel shut down, you would go into acute dehydration syndrome. And it was this acute dehydration syndrome that created all the problems. And so I went through every pill, potion, tablet, water machine, water ionizer, filter, vortex, you name it. I'd been through all of them. And it was insane. Her second year, like I said, she had 100 hours a week of home health care, and it was her third year that she went into failure to thrive. And she wasn't gaining any weight. She wasn't digesting fats. She wasn't digesting proteins. They weren't breaking down. And they're like, we don't know what to do. And this lady, a patient of mine, came in, and she starts giving me the typical, I hate to say rhetoric, but, oh, pH water will fix everything. Oh, it's this. And my water machine can save her life. And it just couldn't. Because I've already tried everything. And so long story short, after about 6 weeks, we got when the last test results came in, we got the news, and I ended up, you need something? And it ended up that we ended up trying the water. And what really happened was the doctor, I literally wrote on the whiteboard that y'all have seen, and I was just taking notes from the doctor, and the patient was laying on the table. And she literally just said, Dr. Michael, Skylar doesn't have to suffer because you're too stubborn to try the water. Right. And I looked at her like jaw drop. I was really ready to cuss her out. And that still small voice was like God just saying, just shut up and try the water. And so I said, you know what? Bring me some of your water. I'll try it. I'll give it to her, and then I'll run a test, these exact tests in a month, and I'll prove to you it doesn't work. She was like, okay. And so the rest is kind of the history. I mean, she brought the water in. When we got home, I told Abigail about the results, and we kind of cried a little bit, and then started her on the water. And it wasn't like we did anything massive. It was just like, here's 9.0, 9.5 water. Here's a jug. We put it in her sippy cup. But within 4 days, like 60, 70, 80% of her symptoms had started to reverse, and she was hydrating, and she wasn't crying, and it started to clear the C. diff. And I was like, well, that's crazy. And so then I'm like, so Amy, yeah, we're seeing some clinical changes, and we'd like to try some more water. Is it working? Well, we're seeing some significant changes. Can I try? Is it working? Yes, it's working. I'm eating crow, and I need water to wash it down. Can I have more water? And so she brought me a couple gallons, and Jackie actually was like, oh, that's cool. I'll drink some. And the next thing you know, it kind of clicked with her headaches. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. And we were about 10 days out. And the next thing you know, Skylar screams bloody murder and in panic because there's a snake in the potty. And what it ended up being was that she'd had her first solid bowel movement. Wow. And so I was like aghast. And so I did what every good parent is. I took the camera, I took a picture, sent it to my wife, and said, I'm buying a machine. I didn't buy it for the science. I didn't buy it for the research. I literally did it because my daughter pooped. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And then within 6 months, she was off feeding ports. And, I set out to go, all right, people need to know this water is different. And I still didn't even know what I know now. I was just like, okay, there's something different. The way it breaks it apart, A plus B equals Z. Like, it didn't make sense, but it worked. And so I set out to put the pieces together and create a format. In fact, we've got a new healthcare providers manual that we're getting ready to launch. We'll give your healthcare providers a discount here at the end if they want to use it. But it's got all the clinical research. It doesn't talk so much about Enagic as it's the science of electrolyzed reduced water and what makes it so different and how you can help people and how you can educate people and, what we use it. Because I don't build like your traditional team. I'm more like I put a chiropractor in, we educate patients. We put a chiropractor in, we educate patients. We put a naturopath in, we educate patients. So it's a little bit different for us. We go a little bit more of a durable medical, but the change was just phenomenal. And so that was
Can I ask you, Dr. Michael, why were you so skeptical at the beginning towards Kangen?
I had tried 8 different. It was like the 8th water machine that I'd tried.
Ionizers?
Yeah, all of them. I mean, I could list them, but I don't want the liability. I mean, it was just like right down the line.
Right.
And the one that I actually had at the time, the plates had flaked off and there was a bunch of mold in the line. And so all my kids got sick. So I was one of those strong opponents of alkaline ionized water. And again, alkaline ionized water is not the same as electrically reduced water. It's very different. Most of y'all don't know this, but if you take your filter out of your machine and put your cleaning cartridge in, it's still going to change the pH. It's still going to change the water. It has nothing to do with the filter. And every other unit on the market has to have the filter because that's where the minerals are. So
if you take the minerals from those machines, you take the filter out from those machines, it's not going to work, right?
It doesn't work right at all. And even still, because they're so low powered, it won't hold the charge. If you were to take any of the competitor plates and put them in our machine, you would actually melt the plate. They always talk about square
inches. Yeah.
Square inches. But if it's a big square, all things being equal, but one is twice as thick, you can hit it with twice the amount of current.
Right.
The fact is our plates are 3 times thicker and twice as large. So you can get a lot of current through those. And that's actually what creates the stable water ionization.
Right. So in other words, our machines are built for a workhorse production, right?
It's basically what I call a lightning strike in a box.
Okay.
Charge, hit the lake or an ocean, and it breaks those bonds. I actually got to interview Dr. Phil back in Thanksgiving last year.
Okay.
Any which way, so there's the picture of Skylar. Everything that was supposed to be inside was on the outside is in that tube. This is the hydrated version and this is the dehydrated version. There was about 4 hours between these two pictures.
When you said hydrated, what do you mean by hydrated?
She had normal volume. She was doing well. Her bowel hadn't shut down. When her bowel shut down, she would start to dehydrate rapidly. Part of the reason that we had so much healthcare is we had to weigh her every hour. In case the bowel shut down, we had to rush to the emergency room. And it's kind of crazy when they say, don't wait for the EMTs. Just get in the car, go fast, call 911 and tell them you need an escort to the hospital. She was 3.5 when we discovered the water, and she was 4 when we removed the Mickey button. But yeah, and so when we did it, we were like, wait a second, you've got all these different types of waters. What's going on here? Tap water bottle, RO water is what they use in most hospitals because it's so sterile. It's also the most acidic. And so you really run into those things. And, people talk about drinking bleach and that stuff, but when you look at how much chlorine is in municipal water supplies, it's scary.
Right.
We use it to wash our fruits and veggies. On the pH scale, if you think about your body as a aquarium, you'll see that it's a very different thing in the fact that nobody in their right mind would pour a 2 liter of Sprite into that. Oh, let's just top it off with a little vodka. It'd kill all the fish. It'd kill the coral. And yet we have the same filtration, oxygen. And so just imagine what that looks like. Gosh. That's literally what people look like on the inside when they drink all that garbage. They don't think of it as like, you mean I can get mold in there? Yeah. And that's what makes electrolyzed reduced water better is, like I said, it was a miracle before our eyes in the fact that 80% of her symptoms seemed to just significantly improve within days. 10 days of bowel movement, 6 months, we removed the port. Like that just doesn't happen. She likes to go on the boat, but she doesn't necessarily want to be on the water. She does love the tube, the floaty tube.
Okay.
So,
Dr.
but yeah,
Michael,
so this is what
before
I'm
you
talking
go
about,
on,
it's still taking time.
before you go on, Dr. Michael, can I just ask you one question? In her case, all her inner thing was outside, right? So
Yep.
how did Kangen water with its properties, how did it actually reverse her symptom back to normal? Are you able to give us a light in that area?
Well, so what happens is they actually got them all tucked in surgically, but they had massive amounts of inflammation, and it was literally an electric potential. When we talk about cancer and electrolyzed reduced water, basically what happened is the mitochondria shuts down and there's no energy, so it burns sugar. Well, when you're using electrically charged water with enough oxygen to reactivate the mitochondria, your energy levels skyrocket.
Right.
So you add in the ability to start healing. And then the other component of it is the hydroxide ion, which flushes all the inflammatory enzymes, flushes all the tissues, detoxes all the cellular matrix. So on the one hand, she was losing all the toxicity that she had. She was increasing her energy levels, and it allowed the body to heal itself. I would love to tell you that there's some great magic motion. The reality is the water gives you oxygen, hydrogen, and hydroxide with an electrically charged water molecule that can actually get into your cells. There's no real other magic. It just seems like it's like, wow. No, it's Harry Potter all the way for me. It's the Jedi water, if anything.
Yeah.
So, and people talk about it and they say, well, it can't be good for you because water doesn't get electrocuted. And I'm like, technically all the water on the planet gets electrocuted. Right. That's what happens when lightning strikes lakes and oceans. They just put it in a box that was small enough to put on your countertop.
Right.
And this is answering your question. It's called actually the dissociation of water. And so what happens is you have a water molecule here and it zaps it and it breaks it apart. So you get your hydrogen, your oxygen, your hydroxide, and it restructures it with a high charge.
Okay.
And then this was what we were just talking about. So here's a cell. That's what's called an aquaporin. That's the fastest way to hydrate. If you have low quality water, you can't hydrate. The reason people were getting water only through the bowel is because they had poor digestion and a leaky gut. And that's what actually fixed it. So then what happens here is when the cells compress, they excrete CO2 and toxins. That's why it needs that charge, because it works like a pump. Out with the bad, in with the good. Out with the bad, in with the good. And so that's literally what's going on. And so if you realize that oxygen and nutrition are going in and you're getting rid of CO2 and toxins, your buffering stays in place. Overly scientific, but the molecular hydrogen is actually what charges the membrane. You get oxygen here. You've got your free electrons here in the Krebs cycle to create energy, and you can get rid of the, I mean, you can get as technical as you want, but that's why if you look at that part of having the energy and the mitochondria working, it's like getting 36 gallons of gas, but if it shuts down, you only get 4. I'll have another drink at that too. I've been drinking Ukon tea. Most of the other units that we were just talking about, like with the filters and whatnot, they literally add, I hate to say chemicals because they're minerals, but they're usually insoluble, and they really build up in the tissues and they create a lot of problems. That's all your bottled waters, even your RO machines where they have a remineralizer. You got to be really, really careful because builds up in the kidneys, the heart, and the cardiovascular. When you have an electrolyzed reduced water machine, it just blows that water molecule apart, and you have the components, so you're not doing any damage. Doesn't affect stomach acid. Charge only lasts for 3 or 4 days, so it's not like it's going to build up in your system. And so there's really isn't any clinical research that says, hey, this is a bad thing. Everyday uses, we've got it for hydration, getting the good stuff in, the bad stuff out. carries more oxygen, removes more CO2. I don't know if you can see over there, but there's pesticides that were on the fruits and veggies there. And that's what actually comes off from the pesticide standpoint when you use the 11.5. Ours is the only water machine that produces strong 11.5, because what happens is when you make hypochlorous acid, which is the 2.5, you get HOCl, but you get HNA, which is a mild solvent that breaks down petroleum bases. And all of your pesticides are based on petroleum, so they don't wash off in the rain. You know, you can use it for cleaning. I've got all the clinical research that everybody wishes they had. I can make claims that aren't claimed because I've got the lab reports, but you know, we use it for E. coli, we use it for staph, MRSA, strep, Kripke, and it's completely biodegradable. In our new Dr. Michael Explained series, they've actually got, I bought one of the several $1,000 ATP meters, and I swab the counter and spray it with a 2.5, and it comes back surgical grade sterile. So while electrolyzed reduced water for us felt like a cure, it absolutely wasn't. It was the missing piece. Anybody that is in a healthcare crisis, you're 72% water. And so if you take the healthiest person and the sickest person, you can put them on an equal playing field just by changing their water. And I talk to chiropractors. I've brought on a lot of naturopaths, a lot of physicians, a lot of healthcare providers lately. And I'm like, cool, you did this and this, and that's amazing. That's incredible. So you're doing a really good job with the 28% of your patient that's not water. What are you doing with the 72% that is? And they go, I never thought about it that way. You know, and so when you put the best water in, you have the best potential for healing. There's a lot of clinical research, oxidative stress, neurology, anti-aging, diabetes, free radicals. Hypochlorous acid for sterilization is absolutely phenomenal. We've been using it in wound care in hospitals for years. It's one of my lab reports. And like I said, so there are other electrolyzed reduced water machines on the market. They're just, in my opinion, not as good. And we're the only one that produces hypochlorous acid. Now that's the 2.5 button, and it works on just about anything and everything. When you look at Enagic as a company, though, you know, they've got a 40-year history. They're the only one that is actually what's called an OEM. And to be an OEM means you have 100% control of the quality of the products, the quality of the wires, the quality of the resistors, the filters, every single piece isn't just bidded out to the lowest bidder. It costs more because it actually costs more.
Yeah.
And there's a control factor, and that's why we've won all the water certifications. We're called the category king. It's kind of like everybody else and Enagic. But really our company has the only one that produces the strong 11, the strong 2.5. And it just, that gives it a lot more diversity in use. Here's some of the plate things that you were talking about. See all the corrosion here?
Right.
That's actually where the plates got scorched because they got too hot, mold in the lines. So when you start, I took apart all of the competitor stuff. And I'm like, oh. And so quality really becomes a part.
Yeah.
Big fan of the K8. It produces the highest ORP. It has the hypochlorous acid. It has the strong cleaning water. It removes pesticides. It works as a degreaser. It just does it all. I don't know if you know much about the Inespa. I'm sure you use one. Our shower unit is the only one in the world. These tufa minerals that come out of the Japanese hot springs, did you know that they are regulated by the Ministry of Health? And they're actually labeled as a medical cure in the Japanese journals. Like if you have this health condition, you go soak in these hot tubs. Like if you have eczema, psoriasis, skin conditions, cancers, arthritis, they say you need to go to these hot springs. Well, the most powerful hot spring they have is in Hokkaido. And if you actually type in Hokkaido hot spring, they'll say that this is the hot spring by which all other hot springs are judged. The radium tufa minerals there have more concentrates than anywhere else in the world. So it's heavily regulated. And it's also where Mr. Oshira bought the mineral rights to buy the tufa minerals that go into our shower unit. Nobody else in the world does that. But game over. It's the only machine that does it. And so, like I said, that's all regulated. Now, is it the same high quality as soaking in? No, because that's like a milk bath almost, but you're getting the same exact effects.
Right.
And long-term benefits because you're bathing in it every day instead of 20 minutes 3 times a week.
Right.
You're sitting in a hollowed out thing of tufa versus you're working it. So it's not quite as intense, but it still has the exact same overall effect on a smaller scale. And what most people don't realize is they worry about chlorine, but they don't know why. They're like, yeah, chlorine's bad. It's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Why? Is the binding agent that makes your thyroid work. And when the thyroid shuts down, that compromises your immune system. It shuts down your metabolism. It does all of those things. And so people gain weight, they become sick, they become tired, and it wears out the endocrine system. Well, chlorine competes for the binding site, iodine binding site in the thyroid. So that's why if you go to a pool and you swim,
okay,
you feel exhausted when you're in a pool that's got chlorine in it. Take a whole quart or a liter of whatever, that water, and just drink right from the pool, right? It takes you 60 seconds. I can fill this glass with tap water, stick my hand in it, and within 60 seconds, I've absorbed all the chlorine out of it into my body. What you don't realize is your absorption rate is 1 quart.
Wow.
Little over a liter per every 10, 15 minutes. Right. So I'm not sure if you guys are gallons or liters, but you basically get as much chlorine as in a gallon of that pool water every hour you're in the water.
Wow.
So it just destroys the thyroid. So that's a really big piece of the puzzle. And so when we sell a lot of trifectas because we've got people with health issues. This is the number one way we can rebuild their body and their endocrine system to prevent the toxic uptake.
Right.
All of our thyroid, we use it for all of our patients. But like I said, what happens with the thyroid is it filters out chlorine. Right. But a lot of stuff filters out chlorine. This will get the trihalomethanes and the dissolved gases and stuff, chemicals and pollutants as well, because the filter is just insane. I mean, you've probably taken it out and been like, that's disgusting. But yeah, and so what happens is you're no longer putting in the chlorine, and then you're using this tufa mineral that helps heal the body.
Right.
So it's a critical piece, in my opinion, for getting people well. I sell 90% trifectas actually. Wow. So we sell the K8, the Enespa, and a year's supply of Ukon.
Wow. Guys, if you are fairly new on this show, a trifecta means buying 3 products from Enagic. So what Dr. Michaels is trying to tell you is he recommends the Kangen machine, whether it's a SD501 or the K8. The second one is for your shower because of the external effect and the chlorine and all that, which is the Enespa. And the third one, which I believe, Dr. Michael, you'll be sharing, is on the Ukon, the turmeric.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just to kind of finish up on the shower unit though. So, you know, my daughter was near death, so I tried the water and I didn't buy a shower unit. I was still pretty stubborn, and we went to a friend's house.
Right.
And he's like, oh, well, you can use our shower in our master bedroom because it's got an Enespa. And I was just kind of like, that's a little weird, man. He goes, what, you don't use an Enespa? I'm like, and I never have showered at my friend's bathroom just because it's weird. He's like, no, man, just go in there. And so anyways, we go in there and Abby's like, wow, this is incredible. And I was like, it's water. Well, it helped clear up her skin because she'd had adult acne issues for years.
Right.
And she said, we are buying one of those. And like every good husband, I go, you know how much they are? I don't care. It'll cost you a lot less than getting facials, everything. Okay, we'll buy it. Well, what happened is my hair had been falling out. Within just a few weeks of using the Enagic, my hair stopped falling out because the chlorine at the house was going down these hair follicles, and the chlorine was sterilizing the root.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really quite amazing. And you don't realize, like I said, if you go to the gym and you jump in the hot tub, it's got like,
Right.
first you open the gate and it feels like you've just entered a gas chamber. Right. But if you get in that water for 10 minutes, you just drank a quart of that water.
Wow. And many people don't see that, right?
It's crazy. So yeah, really dangerous. The turmeric, on the other hand, which is the Yukon that we were talking about, right. If you go to PubMed, NIH, whatever, and you just type in turmeric or curcumin, it'll blow your mind. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of articles. It's been researched for centuries. The problem with turmeric is you have to pull it out of the ground and eat it pretty quick, or it oxidizes. If you don't, you end up with an oxidized turmeric that doesn't really have the health potential. So the biggest issue is, like, if you go buy it at the store and you're like the spice, as right. soon as you open it, if you don't eat it all within 24, 48 hours, it's kind of over. And then, you know, with any of the capsules and supplements and all that stuff, they oxidize within the first couple of days. Right. So what Enagic did is they said, look, we've got this phenomenal product. We've got the perfect area to grow this stuff. So then I mean, you've been to the fields, right? They irrigate the fields, they process it with 11.5, they clean it with 2.5, and you know, and so they solved that problem. I personally really prefer the tea over anything. Wow. But I take the capsules, but I like the tea. When I drink the tea, I don't feel my age. I definitely never act my age, but I definitely don't feel my age. So I do a lot of the tea. Right. It's really crazy good. On the new, see, I've got separate videos. I've got like water, I've got a shower, I've got an Yukon, I've got a trifecta. We've got all the Dr. Michael Explains videos, but the new science research coming out for turmeric and curcuminoids, it's going to be killer. Awesome. Yeah. Anyways, so that's literally the trifecta that we were just talking about. So I obviously drink my Yukon tea, and I have my water, and I take my shower in the Enagic, and that's literally why we recommend it as part of our health program. In fact, that's the whole reason that we've created what we call the Doctor's Water Manual. Okay. And we've put the whole thing together for healthcare providers to be able to go, look, this is the clinical application of what we need to be doing. Mm-hmm. It's got implementation, it's got the clinical research. The Dr. Mike, you get a license with the Dr. Michael's videos. We even have email programs that are like, hey, if you have XYZ, here's how electrolyzed rich water can help, what it does, what you should avoid, why you should do this. And we've just got it all in a sequence, and we do all that stuff. So awesome. We're getting ready to launch that, you know, and then we've automated our platform. You and I talked about that freedom stuff, that automated for business and personal growth. So we're really we're just educating and teaching everybody so they can use the platform. They can sign up and buy that. They can buy the manual.
There are a lot of questions. Okay, let me go one by one with you, all right? Somebody, Raymond Rees from Philippines, asked, what is your take on our 2.5 with the coronavirus, COVID-19? What's your take on that, doctor?
Do you want my take? I already have the clinical research. I know how long it takes to kill it.
Can you just upfront share it with us?
Actually, no, I can't. I'll get my butt in trouble.
Yeah. Guys, these are very sensitive questions, okay?
We don't worry about it in our house at all.
Okay. But you will recommend, right?
Absolutely.
You will recommend the 2.5, right?
If you have any other machine, the 2.5 won't work. It's only the Enagic machines that produce the hypochlorous.
Right. Okay. So guys, read between the lines. Okay.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to
Like I
say
said,
that.
I have the video with the ATP meter. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Somebody asked,
Another question from Raj Nish Sood. Sorry, I'm not sure where you're from. And he says, we see many ionizers claiming to be registered with FDA of US. Please clarify if Kangen water device has not opted to be registered with FDA voluntarily. As to my understanding, registration of Kangen water machine is not mandatory. Now, what's your take on that?
it's true. It's not a registered device and it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
They don't, the crazy thing is the FDA doesn't regulate water sources. Makes you really wonder what's in your bottled water. No, so what happens is because it produces hypochlorous acid,
Right.
if it gets an FDA rating, I'm the only one here that's going to be able to sell these because it's a medical device in Japan. If you get the FDA device because of the 2.5, you guys will only be able to sell the R unit.
Right.
It creates the illusion. It's like everybody wearing the cloth masks.
Right.
You realize that actually is unhealthy, right?
But everybody's wearing it.
When you breathe out, so what happens is oxygen goes into a cell, gets in there, CO2 gets converted because the O2 gets used and it binds with the toxins and it goes out into your bloodstream, goes back to your lungs where you breathe out the toxins. But when you do this, you're now breathing in the toxins. The ATP meter that I was testing went to over 2,400 with 30 minutes of use on a mask. Now, as far as protecting you from corona, that's like installing a chain link fence to keep out mosquitoes. Totally useless. It does absolutely nothing.
Gosh.
The weave of the pattern is so big that the coronavirus just migrates through it.
Right.
You know, if it really did work and you had one of these on, you wouldn't smell anything. I would be putting on a mask to go change Sophie's diaper. It just doesn't work. What happens is in a hospital environment that's pre-sterilized, you have a small source, so masks work really, really well. But then if you look at the way that the virologists, they're like in all over body suits with masks and you know, and so the cloth masks actually do very little. But everybody thinks that it's a great thing to have. Bringing that back around, oh, the FDA has approved this, so it must be okay. And yet, how many things have the FDA approved that are making us violently ill?
Right.
You know, the FDA has approved soda to be drank. It just says, hey, it creates cancer.
So guys, those of y'all who are still asking about this FDA thing, I think Dr. Michaels has just explained why.
And if the FDA, because our machines produce hypochlorous acid,
right,
that's what gets it our medical certification in Japan,
right,
in Korea and all those places. It does actually create that. It does use that. It does have that. It's a medical device.
right.
If you get an FDA certification, it then becomes a medical. It actually will be certified as a medical device. And you'll have to have certain reps and certifications in order to sell it, and then people won't be able to sell it.
Yeah.
So if it's not necessary,
yeah,
big bag of worms, don't open that.
Yeah.
Unless y'all want to just stop making an income from it.
Yeah. But you know what, Dr. Michaels, the thing you shared about the NSPA is the first time I heard of it. It's amazing.
I tried.
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Are you able to share with us on the you know, you remember you drawed on that whiteboard about why our machine is so superior, because it's not just a matter of the number of plates, because nowadays a lot of people are claiming, yours is only 7 plates, yours is only 8 plates. We have 13 plates, we have 11 plates. But you remember you showed that thing? What hydrogen do you call it?
There's the molecular hydrogen. Really what goes on is our plates, one, are larger, so we have more surface area. So then what they did is they added more of the thin plates to create the surface area.
Right.
But if you add enough current, you melt the plates because they're not strong enough to hold the current.
Right.
And if you don't have enough electrical charge, you're not going to break the bond sufficiently to maintain the charge. So there are, of the top 5 water ionizers, and we'll include the K8 and the ST501 as one piece. Of the top 5 water ionizers, the only one that I'm aware of that will even hold the charge for 12 hours is the Enagic machines.
Is there?
Most all the machines last 2 to 4 hours on the charge. You drink it and fill it and go.
Right.
You fill it and go to the office. By the time you're done with lunch, you're drinking filtered water with a high ORP.
That's amazing.
It just doesn't have the electric potential to hold it.
Right. So the holding it is the trick, right? It's all a matter of holding it, right?
Top 5, 2 of them, it lasts less than 10 minutes. So you fill your water bottle, you go to the gym, you're no longer drinking reduced water.
Wow.
You're even drinking ionized water.
Wow.
But and here they have an FDA approval because it came out, they did it, it came out of the machine and it did what it said.
Right.
But if you go to the gym, it doesn't work. But it has an FDA approval. You see the...
Okay, Dr. Michael, somebody asked you for diabetics with damaged kidneys, do you think Kangen water can heal, improve the kidneys?
Okay, so with kidneys, you got to be careful. There's a potassium issue. And I have people ask me this a lot. Unless I am actually part of the healthcare team coordinating their care, I don't recommend they do it. Okay. Because the kidneys have to filter out certain things. That said, if I'm co-managing and I can work with the doctors and we can create a highlight of what to look for, yeah, it works great. But just broad spectrum, people like dialysis and stuff, you know, it gets real sketchy. And if you start looking at, oh, my battery's about to die. What happens is when you start looking at all the different health conditions, if you say to somebody, oh my gosh, you need to drink my water, it's going to help. Mm-hmm. You literally just practice medicine without a license. So, and that puts us all at risk. That's a medical claim. And the FTC has globally gone crazy for people with making medical claims. Right. And so what happens is it's very different for me to say my white light is out. Hey, and that's where, like I said, and I keep bringing it back, we've got the manual, but the emails are based on, have you heard about how electrolyzed reduced water can help diabetics? What it does is the hydroxide ion flushes the glucagon that makes the cell insulin resistant. If you'd like to try some electrolyzed reduced water, let me know. That's not a, hey, my water cures diabetes, or hey, you need to try this. It's here's the research, here's the information, check it out. When you want to try it, let me know. Very, very different. One is illegal and one works perfect.
Okay, what components in the water that makes it an antioxidant, alkalizer, and microclustered water scientifically? Is there any component in the water that makes this water with these 3 properties?
So when you blow the water molecule apart,
okay,
what you end up doing is you create available hydrogen and hydroxide, and the ratio of hydroxide to hydrogen is what drives it to the alkaline side.
Right.
Microclustering is a marketing term that doesn't exist scientifically, but it describes a concept.
Okay.
So if I said that I had a bunch of magnets stuck together, like ball magnets, right? That's a clump, that's a cluster. If I increase the magnetic charge, they actually start to repel each other. So that's where you get the concept of microclustering. What you're actually talking about is a high versus low electrostatic charge on the outer rim electrons.
Right.
Yeah. Smaller group. In one of my earlier PowerPoints, you probably saw the bunch of grapes in the jug, bottle jug.
Yep.
If you break the grapes up, you're getting a smaller cluster that will go in the bottle.
Ah, okay. So that's how it scientifically explains that three properties in the Kangen water, right?
Yeah. If you go research microclustering, there isn't anything because it doesn't exist.
I tried it on PubMed and all that. I can't find. Yeah. I still remember you have a video done that you explain why this water doesn't change the litmus paper, but it actually shows a difference in the ORP meter. Are you able to explain that when litmus paper are used to test
react to the chemical composition?
Come again?
Litmus papers react to the chemical composition.
Right.
You gotta realize if you have a lot of extra hydrogen or hydroxide,
right,
shift the pH, but the instant it's absorbed into the cell matrix, it's neutral.
Okay.
That's why pH is technically irrelevant. I wish they would remove the 8.5, 9, and 9.5 moniker and go small, medium, and large.
Wow. That's
pH change because they say pH.
Right.
It's like getting your FDA certification. It just creates all these other problems that are actually inaccurate.
Right.
So, and you'll have to follow me for a second.
Okay.
All electrolyzed reduced water. All electrolyzed reduced water is alkaline.
Okay.
All electrolyzed reduced water is alkaline.
Alkaline. Okay.
Not all alkaline water is electrically reduced.
Ah.
So I could take Sprite, put it in a Brita filter, add some calcium to it, and it now has a 9.5 pH. It is not electrical and it is not reduced. Okay. Looking at electrolyzed reduced water when they check the pH indicates that the process has happened.
Right.
It is not the process.
Amazing.
If they eliminated all the concept of pH, it would be much easier to sell. Because everybody is going, oh, well, it's alkaline ionizer. Well, this one says it's better. This one has a better warranty. This one's got more plates. This one. But alkaline ionizers dump calcium, magnesium, potassium, and hit it with a low current to meet the FDA requirements to say that it's an alkaline water ionizer, which it is. But it's not an electrolyzed reduced water machine.
So pH and ORP are two different things, right? pH is a measurement of potential hydrogen, while ORP is the measurement of reduced water, the electrical charges of the water, right? Yeah. So does it mean when a pH goes up, does it always mean that when a pH goes up, the ORP will go lower? Oh, is that always the case? Not really.
If the electric charge goes up,
yeah,
the pH goes up.
Okay.
Because that means that there's been more current applied.
Right.
Is it a stable current? Was it done long enough to maintain the integrity of the electrons? Correct. But just because the alkalinity goes up doesn't mean you have an ORP.
Wow. That's something we need to understand about. Yeah.
So we joke in Georgia. I used to restore antique shotguns years ago and build long-range rifles for target shooting, little bitty groups at 1,000 yards. I'm a phenomenal shot. I'm better than most people in the world, but I'm not a sniper. But every sniper is a great shot. But
Right.
just being a great shot doesn't mean I'm a sniper.
Oh. Okay, I got you there. Another
So-
question, Dr. Michael. Would the acidity of the stomach counteract with the pH of Kangen water?
No, in fact, if you drink 12 ounces of 9.5 a half hour before you eat and throw in a pinch of salt, you'll actually restore your bacterial flora in your intestines. You'll have enough hydrochloric acid to digest your food. Your GERDs will go away. You'll improve your digestion and a great many things. Because it's electrolyzed, it doesn't neutralize the stomach acid. As soon as it goes in, you actually hydrate the lining of the stomach, and now your mucosal cells can produce hydrochloric acid. So it actually improves digestion. You don't actually want to drink, you know, people look at it like, well, why does it say don't drink it when you eat?
Yeah.
You should never drink anything when you eat.
Anything, right?
Water, soda, milk, coffee, tea, scotch, wine, bourbon, beer, juice.
So
You shouldn't drink any of it because it neutralizes the stomach acid.
right.
You dilute it.
Because one of the biggest misconception a lot of people has is why you drink alkaline water or whatever when it goes into the stomach and it gets neutralized by the acid. That's what everybody thinks about, right?
I don't drink alkaline water.
You have said for many years, okay, this from one lady from Perth, her name is Win. You have said for many years that you have not found any better ionizers than Enagic machines. You have stated that you have not stopped looking for better ones. Does that standing or position regarding your water ionizers still stand for you?
Yeah, if I found a better one, I'd switch.
Okay, but so far, is there any better one in the
30
market?
or 40 of them and nothing comes close.
Awesome.
This was like number 8. You know, a lot of, and here's the difference. A lot of people got into this for the business.
Right.
I got in this for my daughter's health. I'm in this for my daughter's health.
Right.
If I found something better for my daughter, I would use it, like we all would.
Right.
The simple fact is I haven't found anything yet.
So your confidence in Enagic is because of the product, right?
Absolutely. It simply delivers. There isn't actually another product on the market that does it. Let's just take whether you look at Alka-V, Tie-In, Echo, whatever their machine is.
Right.
This one has 57,000 plates and does all this other stuff. Okay, it may be equal to or slightly greater on a molecular hydrogen standpoint. But what about the 11.5? How long does the charge last? What about hypochlorous acid? What about, so now you look at 10 categories within a water machine.
Right.
There are a couple machines that within the first couple hours, they actually produce more molecular hydrogen than the Kangen machine. It's just a fact. But you can't fill your water bottle and at the end of the day, you're still drinking reduced water. You can drink it out of the machine and it's really amazing.
Right.
And that's it. But like, I don't stay by my machine all day.
Right. That's true.
And so now you look at the hypochlorous acid. Well, what are the benefits of hypochlorous acid? Are you talking about cleaning your house, cleaning your cut, cleaning a wound, taking care of your kids, sterilizing things in your house, any number of bacteria, molds, fungus, viruses, spores, growing plants, fruits, veggies, pesticides? I mean, now what about removing pesticides from your fruits and veggies? What about breaking down the degreaser for your house? What about uptake of MCT oils? What about, I mean, it's like, if you look at an Enagic machine, the R unit, in the US, it's like $1,900.
Okay.
Right? I don't know what it is there, but in the US, it's $1,900. The charge on it lasts 18 to 24 hours. That is better than the 27 plate machines elsewhere. It literally lasts longer. It doesn't produce hypochlorous acid. Neither do the other machines.
Right.
Doesn't produce 11.5. Neither do the other machines. So now you're looking at anywhere from $3,500 to $7,500 for a non-Enagic machine that doesn't produce hypochlorous acid, that doesn't produce 11.5.
Wow.
And you can get one in either the R unit or the junior for 24.
Can Kangen water help patients with multiple sclerosis? What do you think about that?
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter what the condition is.
Okay.
It's superior hydration. Superior hydration addresses 72% of the problem.
Right.
However, if you're going to drink Kangen water and a 6-pack of Red Bull every day, oh, I drink Kangen water, it's fine. No, it's not. There's 4 types of people. Yellows are they want to take care of everybody. They want to talk about this and that, and they want to make sure everybody's taken care of. And then the greens, they want to research everything and know it all and have all the science and understand and be ready for any and every question. The red zones don't care, just buy it. I just want to have fun.
Right.
You go party, yeah, you're gonna want to have some water when you're done, or you're gonna have a hangover.
Right.
You know, you want to be healthy, it's the best water you can drink.
Right.
Enagic is a phenomenal product.
Right.
But the comp plan is just insane.
Right.
The products are equally insane. And he didn't want it to be, well, I would like to sell you this water machine. I mean, you don't go buy a dishwasher.
Yeah.
And somebody says, let's have a meeting. We're going to discuss how hot the water is, what angle the water comes off from the jets. We're going to be like, does it get my dishes clean? Yeah. Does the water make you healthy? Yes. Stop.
Right.
Oh, well, our machine's better because it has the most molecular hydrogen, and we've got and the hypochlorous acid. And no, I just asked people, are you interested in water? Are you interested in health? Yeah. Well, if you are, let me know. You know, for me, a big thing is drinking water and getting, you know, the pesticides off the fruits and veggies I feed my kids. You can do that? Yeah.
So,
I sell the most machines when we go out and party on Saturday night and everybody has too many drinks, and then I give them a jug of water and they wake up and they don't have a hangover and they're like, what's the deal with the water? I deal with doctors from a clinical side,
right.
but it's not like when I get into selling somebody, I don't talk about molecular hydrogen, active oxygen.
Wow.
I'm not talking about microclustering. I don't talk about any of that stuff. I am a let's go have fun person. The simplest thing is buy the water my daughter pooped. And the yellows and the blues are like, let's go. The greens are going, but why did she poop? How did she poop? What was going on when she pooped? Why did you? I have a responsibility as a physician to be able to educate people, because doctor means teacher. It doesn't mean I'm better than you. It just means I'm a teacher. And if somebody had showed me some basic research early on.
Okay.
So for instance, you have somebody that's like, wow, I'm really dehydrated. You need our best water. It's great. It's got molecular hydrogen, active oxygen, hydrogen. It's got a high ORP. It will help you poop. It'll be hydrated. It'll detoxify your cells better. If you have cancer, it'll do this. And if you do this, it'll do this. And it'll do this and this. And it'll do this. And they're like, whoa. True story. So my dad died when I was 7, and he left as a disabled vet and left my mom as a single mom.
Okay.
With 3 kids to put through college. And my mom busted her ass for me to get ahead. Okay. Worked a couple of jobs, did whatever it took. And you know, it's nice that I have the lake house and I can do all this stuff, but I got to a point where I'm like, how do I give back?
Right.
And who do I want to help? I want to help everybody. The reality is I can only help certain people. And you really generally only help people with your story.
That's true.
I can help single moms. I can help vets and disabled vets. And I can help parents that have had sick kids. That's my story. Now I can get into the martial arts side and I can branch out. But my biggest niche is the fact that I'm a healthcare provider. I can help other healthcare providers help their patients with health issues. Again, that's kind of how the manual came about. Was that manual is actually what I've done to build my physician base and help the physicians help their patients with minimal amounts of effort. Now, when I go into building and I want to work with single moms and disabled vets, I use the Freedom Platform. I use the Creating Wealth with Dr. Michael because it takes them and says, here's what you can actually do. Here's how we help you. Here's how we build it. There's a group of like-minded people here, because I may not have a lot in common with a single mom,
okay,
but I know a lot of single moms on the platform, and I can connect them in a community where they keep growing and they help each other.
Right.
And it's not about me building the biggest team. It's about me helping the most people. And you know what? A lot of my people in the Freedom Platform are people like you that are in other groups, that are in other lines. They just want it simplified.
Right.
By all means. Then we can still hang out online and have a blast. You know, because I'm sure, you know, when you build, there's a lot of people that are like, okay, you need to give out 3,000 gallons of water a month. You need to be delivering the water. And it's like, that's a job.
Yeah.
There's no fun. There's no freedom in that. It's a job. And it's like, how do you access and help people do what they love?
Right.
And the online space is perfect for that. And you can connect people just like, I mean, we got 400 people online right now.
Yep.
So I talk to people predominantly about the water.
Okay.
I market to people based on the business or health conditions.
Right.
Because I'm going after chiropractors.
Okay.
And then I'm looking to help single moms and disabled vets. The moms and the vets is about business. It's not about water. It's about business and creating a sustainable income. And here's another thing. You can make $100,000 a year with this system. Most people that are struggling are like, you're out of your mind. I can't even pay my electric bill. You know, and so you take people with like, well, what if you could match your income?
Right.
Work 10 or 15 hours less a week. Would that give you more time for your family? That would be amazing. They believe they can make the amount of money. They'd like a little bit more time.
Thank you, Dr. Mansi. Thank you.
300 people.
Yes, that was fun. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gary.
ขอบคุณค่ะ Dr. Gary. Thank you very much, Dr. Michael. Very much, Gary. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you.